Thank you for coming, everyone, to this edition of Gaia's Zoom Room. We are talking tonight about new endeavors. What is done, and we have been brought together in a very exciting time. And I've already had one hand go up, so I'm going to go to Tina Marie. What have you got to say, my dear?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I just want to say, for those of you that didn't see it in the chat, I am taking a full moon hot bath. It is after 9 here, so it's just a little late for me, but that's all right. Not trying to be rude. Hopefully, you all feel my beautiful energy. I second wanted to just say hi, everybody. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Red Clover, Lisa, Shannon, Marco, everybody. Hi. It's so nice to see all your beautiful faces and feel your energy. Um, and then I wanted to say I had the most amazing conversation with Carrie Black Elk from the Black Elk family. Come to find out, they're actually going to be here in Ohio for the Star Knowledge Conference this weekend at Serpent's Mount. So I get to go see him and talk to him. And I'm really excited about that and just the whole experience in general. Um, and yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. This will be my first ever Star Knowledge conference that I'm going to. I do love Star Serpent's Mount. I've been there a couple of times and it's just beautiful energy. And to actually go on the equinox is just wonderful for me. So I'm super excited and I just wanted to share that with you all. And I love that we're moving forward. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. And I am so I'm not going to say jealous. I'm envious. I wish I were you. I take me in your pocket. Um,
I'm going to have you all with me, those of you that would like
oh,
to come energetically.
I I am so, the thing is that what we have had a taste of is the connection between people around the world, and to be able to work together to create something wonderful. And that I don't want to stop that. And
No.
I have been working on this. I've been holding this vision for a decade, and I have known that I couldn't do it myself, but I had no idea how it would happen. So let me just outline for you basically where we're going. And I'm just going to admit Alan and he'll join the ranks. All right. So I asked AI to help me put all these concepts into a way of making it intelligible. So let me read what AI and I came up with. So it's called Funding and Growing the Our Heart Gardens Network. I'm Shannon McArthur, and I'm honored to be here in this sacred space with all of you. Tonight, I want to share the vision that's been growing in my heart, Our Heart Gardens, or OGs. This is more than just a project. It's a movement to create spaces of community, healing, and sustainability. We need places where people can gather, connect, listen, and heal. I believe that community gardens, especially in repurposed indoor spaces, can serve as hubs for this transformation. The idea behind OGs is simple yet profound: to foster deeper relationships with each other and the earth while promoting and creating sustainable living, especially in urban areas. These spaces will nurture not only plants, but also our collective heart, the heart of the one we are. In this network of community hubs, we grow good food, share knowledge and wisdom, and support each other during these chaotic times. I'm excited to be on this journey and to explore how we can co-create this dream. If this vision resonates with you, I look forward to hearing your thoughts and ideas on how we can make it a reality. The funding proposal presentation. First, I'd like to talk about how we can bring this dream to life. Every project needs resources, and OhGs is no different. But what excites me is that this project can be funded in a unique and meaningful way through the creation and promotion of books and media that I've been developing for years. I've made videos, written stories, and books, even an ebook series, Jim's Nuggets, which captures the opening comments of Dr. Jim Garrison from the Humanity Rising series. These works are filled with powerful ideas, images, and links to thousands of inspiring conversations, seeds for the future. The first volume of Jim's Nuggets is ready, the second almost ready, and their publication can serve as the primary funding source for the OhGs project. By promoting and distributing these books, we can generate the funds needed to launch our heart gardens. However, my vision isn't just about selling books. It's about forming a network and building a globally distributed community. People who purchase or invest in these works are directly contributing to creating sustainable, healing spaces that pump fresh abundance into their own communities and throughout humanity around the world. And we're here to help them find the information and connections they need to do it. Challenges and solutions. Indoor gardens present three main challenges: moisture control, natural light, and air circulation. Excess moisture can lead to mold and humidity issues, but these can be managed effectively with proper ventilation and dehumidifiers. A key aspect of maintaining the mental well-being benefits of gardening is the use of actual fertile soil, which contains microbes known to help alleviate clinical depression. Further fostering a connection to nature, we can incorporate crops like water hyacinth and bulrushes, which thrive in water and are suitable for both food and crafting. These hands-on activities offer a rewarding way for people to engage with nature, creating an environment that nourishes both body and spirit. And community building. Every community has unique needs and resources, so advisors with diverse specialities will be needed. The products of each community can be circulated, and we'll need a system of needs and exceeds where people can both request and offer resources, functioning like a community bank. Eco-villages often fail, and since OhGs are to be created where people already live, failure would have a direct impact on them. How can we create a buffer or safety net to prevent this? Through this plan, we can husband Gaia, our living earth, tending to her resources and fostering a reciprocal relationship that sustains both the planet and humanity. I can't do this alone. I'm looking for a team, people who believe in this vision and want to be part of making it a reality. I imagine starting with universities, as I'm connected to Ubiquity University and the After Chat of Humanity Rising. With Jim's Nuggets, we have a product that provides valuable information and connections. If you can help spread the word, assist with promotion, or connect us with resources, well, everyone has something to offer. Together, we can create a ripple effect that nurtures bodies, connects hearts, builds the global mind and helps us to actually husband the earth herself. I'd love to continue the conversation, answer any questions, and hear your thoughts on how we can make this happen together. Thank you for your time, your hearts, and for being part of this journey with me. I have some ideas for breakout rooms, or we can just continue talking about the different aspects that are suggested for the breakout rooms. Why don't I tell you what they are first, and then we'll figure that out, okay? So there's only 3 that have been suggested. And the first one is to refine the clarity of the website and get familiar with the concept. The second one is production of resources. And the third one is outreach and strategic planning. So they're quite different, and it depends on your interest. But I'm watching Lisa, and she is a very good barometer of what needs to be said and what needs to be concentrated on. What are you saying, Lisa?
I think our heart gardens is a very large concept. And so maybe breaking it down into pieces that people could grab onto, bite-sized pieces. Everything needs to be bite-sized pieces, right? So breaking it into small things that people could grab onto and say, yes, that excites me, and that then draws them into the larger picture might be one way of looking at things. And I'm all about the bullet points and like quick scans through the website. So I always think that I should be able to look at the page and pull out 5 or 6 words just by looking at it and be like, oh, I've got the concept. So that's what I would do. I don't know if that sparks other people's ideas and how to get people interested and interacting.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
You're right. It is a really big idea. And I think that's why the AI came up with the word profound, because it is simple in its in the concept, but how it actually lands in each place is different. And the concept is building a network of places where we grow good kids and good food in our communities. And that network allows the knowledge that is, doubling every 12 minutes or something, to be disseminated throughout the network. Right now, it's hidden inside of universities and silos, and that is one of the reasons why I got so thrilled with the idea of Humanity Rising. And then with Stan coming in with other networks, the Archive of Humanity Rising, and the After Chat, well, that makes it a richness beyond belief. And so these are the tools that have been, injected into the world through me. It's just, I don't know how to make this happen. And it's so, how do I grab this? Julie, it's you. Sorry. Julie Wolf is in the room, and I am thrilled to see her here. She was part of other networks and worked closely with Stan for a while and with me, and it was wonderful. And I see that Lisa Ayers has got her hand up. Come on in.
Julie Wolf. I was thinking that one way to move forward would be to find similar projects and to find ways of drawing the 2 projects together, or or partnering with that project and building upon it to make it even larger. Like I think about locally here, there's the Young Agrarians and there's LEPS, Langley Environmental Partnership Society or something like that. And they do much of what you have in mind, but not all of what you have in mind. So if you look at what they're doing and how they're doing it and what's working, it might give you a good place to start
I
and also good connections.
I want them as part of the network. The thing is, what I'm seeing or feeling into is an affiliation where people become part of the affiliation and they have like a gauge. Are they 100% our OGs or are they 50% or, and
Mm.
the goals that they might want to have, but that is every place is different. And that actually brings up an idea in the production of resources. I have mentioned, do we need an OG's Bible to describe the possibilities and principles and define the objectives, perhaps expanding on the business plan?
I kind of like that idea. Same thing that I was thinking is that maybe you have levels or branches, or like you can become a level one and then you can continue to grow. Like they don't have to do everything all at once. It's a step-by-step process. I see Tina Marie has her hand up too.
Yeah, come on in, Tina.
So I just recommend, since you created that with ChatGPT or whomever, whichever AI platform, asking actually literally for that to break it down for you, giving it some examples of what it could look like, you know, and having it break it down for you. And then also, because it is such a large, it sounds like there's a lot of different details and groups. I feel like that would be a really great place to start presenting the information to all of us, because it sounds so expansive that my brain is just like, what? I don't even know what part to even, I feel like we need categories or something.
I completely understand what you're saying there, Tina Marie, because that is what I got stuck with at 10 years ago when this concept landed in me. Oh, how do I explain this to people? And it didn't there didn't seem to be enough need in the world. I wasn't going to be able to convince anybody. Well, I've been watching what's been going on, and there is more need than we need. Um, and so the concept is basically to feed our people where they live, help people grow good food and good kids in community. And while they're doing that, they're also sharing knowledge and wisdom and time with each other, getting to know each other. You get to know people while you're doing things together instead. You know, here's a story for you. Mom and I had a rocky life, and I found the very easiest place to be guided by my mom was if I was sitting in the car with her, beside her, instead of looking at each other in the eyes. And when we're doing dishes, the same thing happens. The pressure is off of you, and so you get to be introspective and think, and then you say what you have to say, and it is a much more congenial atmosphere rather than this looking into each other's eyes. Speed dating is hard. But, sitting next to somebody while you're, transplanting little seedlings, you're concentrating on what you're doing. And so, you can think and you can be quiet and the other person's doing something for a minute and they might be thinking and doing something quiet. But together, you are actually creating community and connections. And while you're there also, at the end of the day, the people who love to cook have been cooking all day long and they've made this beautiful meal. And the people who've been working out in the city, doing the infrastructure maintenance and working on the land, they've come in and they've washed their hands in the big bathrooms where they've got big fluffy white towels, and everybody is ready for dinner, and then we sit down and we say a prayer together. And then we eat this beautiful food together and we laugh and we talk. And then afterwards there's ceremony and dancing and drums and each place has an opportunity to build its own cohesiveness. In the mornings, people come and they decide together on what needs to be done. And some of them go off and do business because there's still trade and other restaurants and things that are going on out there. Still road works. We haven't yet figured out how to fly our cars yet. But this is how we can structure, if we create places where we can have people there 24/7, we have a refuge for people who are in unfortunate circumstances. We have places where students can come and do hands-on learning of the things that they're learning in universities or in their trade schools. This allows us to keep our elders and our children together. The things that our elders have learned, the things that we have endured, these are stories that need to be heard by the younger generation. And the younger generation needs to learn where their food comes from. So these, and the philosophies, we could talk about the philosophies that there are so many of them. We have United World Religions now, URI, United Religions Institute. We've got a lot of different religions. In our heart gardens, please bring your philosophies and talk about your philosophies. I don't want anyone, and maybe that's wrong. Maybe some of them should be, in the seniors' homes attached to the Masonic temples, or I don't know. United churches sometimes have seniors complexes, but the wisdom warehouses that we have created to hold our old people, and the kindergartens that are never the twain shall meet, they need to be amalgamated and the natural world brought into their lives. The laughter and curiosity of children needs to be injected into the lives of our old folk, because the interest and excitement and enjoyment of life leaves when the children do. the magic that has happened in my life that supports the work that I've done makes it imperative from my perspective that this has to happen. To see performance art done by a crow when he did successful surgery on an earthworm made me go and look into the environment of an earthworm to figure out why he would need surgery. And so I found out that in fertile soil, there is a bacteria that that gives this smell that is the medicine that relieves the symptoms of clinical depression for 24 hours, just in 15 minutes, the smell of fertile soil. So I knew it had to be indoors because I can't make everybody go outdoors, and we live indoors now, especially with all the climate change that's gone on. All it takes is one climate catastrophe and we don't have food. We have to look to somebody else for food. So if we can create our food in our communities safe under the roofs and within the walls that we also go to, everybody's going to be a happier and better nourished. And getting together, we have the ability to go out and nurture our forests. You know, we have to get rid of all of that dead wood. You know, I keep going back to when Christopher Columbus came to this country, and they wrote in their diaries about how beautiful it was. It was like a park. Well, that's because there was everything in its place and there wasn't deadwood all over the ground. You know, and that's the kind of wild land that I want to live in. As well as being able to go to, the next OhGs, because I'm a traveler and I want to travel to bring this idea to people, to promote the idea of growing good food and good kids in community, and creating the call it the quantumly connected part of the one that we are. And I've been going on, and I do want to engage with you guys. Jim, I see you walking around and I know you're busy, but I wonder, no, you don't want to talk to me. That's okay.
No, I'm here.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Making dinner. We're a little starved, but go ahead.
Thank you so much. And we're talking about good food. Of course you're going to eat. Thank you very much for including me and us in, I'm coming to your place. But I do want to invite comments. And if you've got anything that you'd like to say, Jim, I invite you.
Okay. I like your ideas. They're good. They're really good. And we're going to need them once we get through the chaos of what's going on. I think a couple of things that come to me. First of all, we don't want to remove all the deadwood. Everything has to stay in balance. This is part of the mistake we made in Yellowstone. And then when the fires came, we couldn't stop them. So that's a balance thing. And that some of that deadwood is home to other critters. You can't just remove it. That's absolutely, it's been proven, unfortunately, by our mistakes. You can't really do that. I think the other thing was that hit me. I hear you about doing gardening inside because we don't know what's going to happen. But I think we also have to continue to garden outside because we're going to have to learn to live with whatever our new reality is wherever we live. And if that means different crops, well, so be it, you know. But
I
and
absolutely agree with everything that you're saying. More, more, more.
no, those are the ones that no, that those are the
Okay.
ones that I'm listening carefully, believe me.
Thank you so much. I want to respond to the two things that you did mention, and you're absolutely right about the deadwood. I didn't intend it to mean all of it. And balance is absolutely the key in almost everything. I can't think of anything it's not, but I had to leave space for the possibility there might be something.
Yep.
And the other was growing outdoors as well as in. And that is absolutely, I completely agree with you. The idea of growing bulrushes, um, for me, bulrushes really, really is a powerful uh, possibility because the seeds are so small. They're so easily harvested. They can be eaten like a sprinkle on top of your salad. They can be ground up into a kind of a flour. The inside pith of the grass that is bulrush, that it can be spread and dehydrated and creates a sweet flour. And so that could be a replacement for diabetics for if they've got a sweet tooth. I'm sure it must be so. I don't know. But these possibilities exist. And as the bulrushes grow from the seeds, that they create like alfalfa sprouts. They're and then they grow bigger and they're kind of like asparagus shoots, and then they and each one of these stages you need to um, thin them, and so because they go from powder to 6 feet tall in a growing season, these things grow really fast. And the roots of them create it's like a potato, and so there's that, and the rushes themselves, the leaves can be woven by hand into bags, and so all of these, but it's hands on, and it's you can't pay people enough to do it, but these are important things that need to be done. And so you can do them in community while you're talking, you're watching the kids, you're watching a Zoom call. You can do these things while you're sitting next to your beloved, um, and or your mom, or helping the elders. Or and I see Marco, you've got your hand up. Can't hear you yet.
Yeah, it's good to talk about growing outdoors also, but due to the prevalence of glyphosate showing up in rainwater, uh, growing healthy food outdoors may not be an option anymore.
That's harsh, isn't it? Wow.
And this is, not just talk. This is, laboratory tests prove that, rainwater is contaminated with glyphosate, or you might know it by Roundup, its trade name, and all the devastation that has caused in people's lives with various cancers, not to mention what it does to our gut bacteria.
Well, I learned about glyphosate for the first time from Dr. Zach Bush. He came to Humanity Rising. He even came to the after chat. And this is, I mean, this is really important. And I didn't have a clue about it. And now he's coming to Enderby. And I get to go. I've got a birthday coming up, and I decided that I would give myself the treat of going to watch Dr. Zach Bush and Charles Eisenstein in a in a summit, and I'm going with Lisa. Or sorry,
That's a little okay.
Jim. I can hear you. Were you saying something?
Sorry, I thought I muted. Apologies.
It's okay. Thanks. So the educational abilities that we have because of having Zoom need to be monopolized. The fact that we have Humanity Rising and the archive of Humanity Rising, these are really, really important resources, and they really need to be part of our lives. I cannot imagine everybody trying to motivate everybody to come and listen to this, because that's what we've been trying to do for 4 years. Now, I've tried by writing Jim's nuggets and making Jim's opening comments readable, instead of being, hidden behind an hour and a half video, when people just want to listen and plug their ears in, and they should be able to do that too, but they don't even know it's worth listening to because they can't get past it. So the Jim's nuggets is important, but it's how we get people together to listen to programs like that and like this, in order to inspire forward action in a direction that is beneficial to all concerned. That's what I want. Lisa, your mouth is moving, but you're not saying anything.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to put something in the chat on what you just said, but I was distracted by Tina Marie's full moon pictures. Um, you were talking about, how to get people together. You have to sponsor or host watching parties of the events or the talks that you liked the most, that you think are the most interesting, and invite people who you think would be interested, and all of their friends. And that's how we're going to get it out there.
I think that's an excellent idea, Lisa. But I'm not sure that it's me. And that was actually one of the ideas that I had way back when this first came out, was that in those, in the OGs, they would have big screens where everybody could watch and talk about what they saw. And so, I mean, I didn't plan any of this. The fact that the plan came through me doesn't mean that I knew what I was doing. But in the plan, there is the desire for knowledge, to fulfill the need for knowledge. And we get that by working together and figuring out what we want to learn about, and what do the kids want to learn about. And so you give that to them, and there's different. Now, I used to think, and I still do, that repurposing of old malls was the best idea ever, because there you could have the restaurant area, you could have the library area, you could have the soil area in the back, where you work with the soil and make the planters, and then you bring the planters out, and the people tend the plants as they're growing. So all of these lovely, wonderful things that we get to do are so much better than somebody sitting on the streets And as we go by them, we go, oh, I wish they wouldn't do that. And we look away instead.
But they're doing that now. They're doing that. They're repurposing old malls, especially in the States. They're making them into old folks' homes. Like you were bringing that aspect in. Michael Kemp has been telling me about how there's one woman down in Dallas, I believe it is, who owns a mall, but she uses the mall as a place to house her collection of art. So it's a shopping space, but it's also a space that people go to look at beautiful art and where artists congregate. And that's a neat idea as well. If somehow can start to think about malls as community centers instead of just money makers, because you'll make more money if more people come.
That's right.
So how do you change people's minds about or ways of thinking about these kinds of spaces? Look at Red Clover's background with all of her plants.
I
She's
want
got
to move
her
right
own
in.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Red Clover is just activating her mic. Come on in.
Well, just like you're saying about the malls, I think we're hard pressed to find in America a community that doesn't have a community garden going now. And we are sharing, and the extension offices know about them. And so that might be a good resource to check with, what's already existing, what's going on. And because I know here locally, we have great community gardens, even in the small communities. But, we're a rural agricultural state to begin with. But we're seeing all kinds of changes. So sharing, what soil amendments and just tactics that we're using. As was mentioned, we may have to change species of things that we grow in different areas. Anyway, I was just thinking, wow. And like Stan's wife is a perfect example of someone who is really active in the community gardening. You know what? There's one of her in every flippin' hamlet in America. And so, yeah, I mean, it is, it's always the question of, that's where you kind of think the 100th monkey thing is very real too, that when we get in our consciousness, everybody grasps this. But I find here, a lot of people like to talk about it. A whole lot of people like to get their hands dirty, and that's what you have to do to amend the soil, to clean up the mess we've made in this, poison artificial plastic world that just gets worse by the day. Say no. Reject any and all plastic is my.
Yeah. I heard from Patty down in Brazil. You know what she does with at least the bags, the soft plastic? She stuffs it inside of plastic drink bottles. And she creates bricks with it. She stuffed it in there so hard, it's so solid. Well, that changes everything, doesn't it? Yeah, instead of it blowing around in the trees and across.
You haven't been making plastic bombs forever? Yeah, of course. That's the plastic bomb. Take the whitest container you can find, and you'd be surprised how much you could stuff in there in a week.
Yeah.
I just to talk about a little bit about that. There's a big, like say, I even challenge myself to how much one bottle fits, how much of it, to see if I'm overusing plastic, and I'm surprised. It's a hill of little, small things that I thought I was not using enough, that I was not reutilizing. And then oh man, it's really a nice game with yourself to see how much you fit in that and how long it takes to fill one bottle up. So it's really a challenge, a playful thing, and they become walls. Anyway,
building materials, yes.
Yeah, building material. Yeah. I'm going to have to go, my dear friends, but I'm here following up and I want to really continue with this.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Patty. I'm thinking that we need to make the website able to collect this kind of stuff. Um, and so I'm going to be, hello, Stan. Yes, we could use other networks as well, couldn't we?
Not as well. Let's start with that because somebody mentioned categories. That's what we do,
Yeah.
and there's everybody's got a website, so all the details can be there. It doesn't have to be all the details in one place, but some way where we can have the ideas findable, and that's the trick of how the world needs to change because the world needs to change so that people with sympathetic feelings and ideas can find each other. And it's the findability that's the step towards making the world better for everybody. Because when everybody's feelings can be found, people with ideas to express and projects to share and the ability to assist each other through storytelling, through descriptions of how to do things. I mean, the whole Earth catalog really was an, something to inspire me and others as well. And it contained all kinds of stories and all kinds of ideas. And so we need to continue that movement. Everybody should be able to find the community of people that they would like to be with. And that's by using the internet and the database capacity that is there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Stan. The Our Heart, othernetworks.org has been inspiring.
Thank you.
Truly inspiring. And the ability to have this kind of thing on that, as opposed to keep changing my website. That's wonderful, Stan. I think that's beautiful offer, and I will take advantage of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just made a link in the chat to your Our Heart Gardens, and it needs to be a page in other networks and be linked to it. That simply, your writing is fabulous, but it needs to be findable in more than a few ways.
I believe that there's already a page for me in there, but it doesn't have, it needs to have
an Our Heart Gardens page.
A page.
Okay, link. That's right.
That has the website on it, but
right.
this would be a good place to have the community on rather and the website would just be the website that leads you to the community, which is in other networks. Perhaps other structures would be, well, that's the thing, is that the team that we are building has the ability to make changes to decisions that are made with less information than someone new who comes in and says, I know how to do that. It's like the legal structure of Our Heart Gardens.
Well, I would hate to say legal structure. I would like to say the structure, yes. But legal structure isn't necessary. You need a human structure, the heart-based human structure. And and this is what I want to tell people here. The way to build networks is where one person tells somebody else about something wonderful.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. And when more people are able to find things that they think are wonderful, then they can tell other people where those wonderful things are, and it needs to be easily found. And that's why my special instruction to those people who are building databases is you can't have too many categories for some particular thing.
Okay.
Because all different people use different words for the same things. And but if you let people have as many categories as they need to get to the same things, then people will always be able to find it. It makes it findable.
I love that, Stan.
Thank you.
And there is also the aspect of, if we're going to be collecting monies in any way, that means that there needs to be a legal structure.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are going to be tax returns and, whatnot. And so I know nothing about these things. And so Jerry Anderson, my friend down in Costa Rica, is that right? No, it's the other
No,
place.
it's not Panama. It's the other one that starts with a P. Philippines.
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
You have another kind of, it's not a 501c3, it's a 508, I think, something.
Yes. And this is very hard designation to get because you have to be grandfathered into something that's fairly ancient. So the difference of a 501 and a 508 is, on a 508, the government doesn't know who contributed, how much, anything. It's completely grandfathered into the church type status.
I like the church kind
as
of
its own country, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We created an ecclesiastical nation, and Kurt Johnson, who is very well known for our moment of choice, I didn't even know he was a lawyer, but he tells me that there is not another ecclesiastical nation in the United States.
Good. Okay. And Kurt would know. He's really so connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to give you an idea, at the United Nations, there are only 4 ecclesiastical countries there now.
Mm-hmm.
And one is, of course, the Vatican, the Russian Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox, and of all things, the Palestinians have a seat at that same chair as an ecclesiastical organization. And we would be the first new ecclesiastical nation to be added to the United Nations since it was started.
Very interesting. Yeah, these are the deep questions that we are going to be encountering as we go forward with, and honestly, it's so far outside of my comfort zone, I cannot tell you. And yet, because of my being guided so magically, I cannot put it aside. And the possibilities of what we are creating and how it would help to hold all of humanity in abundance and love. It's just, it cannot be discarded as not important. I really am so very glad to have Michael and Angela from the Mankinder group here with us. And Michael, I see that you are putting things in the chat. And so I'm going to ask you, would you be willing to come on camera and talk to us about what you're talking about there? Say yes. There you
Well, on much of these topics, I'm just the catalyst, not the expert. So
kind of like
catalysts are really, 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 really important. They're actually the only thing that actually works to bring things together that can't be otherwise brought together. So
Thank you, Stanley.
yes,
You're right.
please don't belittle catalytic
Oh,
conversion.
I don't, but I'll
operations.
still say just wink, wink
Okay.
anyway.
Okay, well, that's good.
So, Angela was kind enough, Michael, don't go away. Angela
All
was
right.
kind enough to put a link in the chat, which looks very interesting because it's long and it's got a lot of percent signs in it and whatnot. But I would like to know what it is. Can we invite her to speak to us? Or do you have
Put a headline into that category, into that. The chats shouldn't be just links. The chat should be a definition, a title, and the link.
Okay.
So that when we look at whether we see a link, we know what it's for. And that's a simple way to make the chats very much more useful.
Yes, it's
Agreed.
and Angela has her mic active, so I'm going to invite her to speak.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. My finger hit the return button before I could put what it was about in there.
Bioplastic?
Yes, it's about they're using seaweed to create plastics nowadays instead of petroleum. So it's completely biodegradable once we get done with the product. There's quite a few companies out there that are doing this nowadays. It's still in the new process. They do have some containers that you can buy. There a lot of restaurants are sourcing them. There's lots of rules around them, but I don't think I need to go into the chemical composition and stuff, how they create them, but they know what they're doing. They create films with them, lots of containers, lots of windows. In my opinion, seaweed's a renewable resource, and when you get done with the plastic, you don't have to worry about it's just compost back into the environment. You can put it in your compost bin and you're done with it. And they are reusable. So
nice. We'll look into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different companies out there, but the last link that I posted is an article from Science Direct that kind of explains just real simply about some things. The first link I posted is a company that is creating products from seaweed that are completely 100% compostable. So I just figured that's a good resource to have. The more we can promote those kind of things in this world, the better off we're going to be. So.
Okay, I can only see one from you, Angela.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one. There's an alternate 702 and 705. Oh, you did well. Thank you so much, Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw today a YouTube from a scientist who has seen an add on to a machine, a generator that basically runs on water. And it cleans the air as well as creating power. And so I know it's kind of wonderful. And we're looking forward to seeing that happen in our world. So, but how do we, like, what I did with that was I sent that to Jim Garrison of Humanity Rising, hoping that he would be able to bring the scientist in and have a one-on-one with him while we were all looking and watching and looking forward to seeing what Jim Garrison does with that. I want to welcome Joan from SunHub. Hello, Joan. So nice to have you with us. I hope you're not indisposed or unavailable. There you are. Hello.
Hi.
We're talking today about the idea of moving forward with the Our Heart Gardens concept. Did you have a chance to look through that website?
Yes, I did. A while ago when you mentioned that at the time. Yes, it resonates.
Yeah, well, I figured, give this group that was brought together something a challenge that is way bigger than anything I think anybody's ever thought of, and see what we could do with it. And so I have suggested that. Oh, and Michael Camp is here. Isn't that exciting?
Yes, I invited him and Dylan to come to kind of debrief them as to our event that we just went through.
And perhaps we should do a little of that
Yes.
with them and anyone who needs to have more. I did send Michael the summary, which washed all the detail out of it. Did I send it to you, Jerry?
No,
No. Yeah.
that's okay. I was there.
You were there. That's right. Yeah. But I took the 3 hour and 10 minute video and I put it into YouTube so I could get the transcript, and I put the transcript through the AI, and the AI did this and it did that, and it was really, really hard. And I got it to boil down into the good things and the concerns. And the good things, I also, as I was going through the transcript, I went through and I highlighted in pink all the good things. And I highlighted in blue, bold, all the concerns. And the difference in colors as you're going through that transcript, you can see in visual how the feelings changed and the expressions changed by being heard. And so I do want to leave that possibility to express and be heard in order so that we can get past these things. I'd also like to welcome Steve Nathan. I'm very glad that you were able to join us. We have talked about, for the last hour, we have talked about our heart gardens and the concept of rolling that out around the world. The quick elevator speech, let me do my best, okay? Our heart gardens are nodes in communities where we grow good food and good kids in good community to pump abundance into places around the world, connected through a network where we flow information and help and support, and the goods from that are excess or created in communities that they don't need and would become garbage if they stayed there. It's like even the most beautiful art, if you've created too much, it can become a problem. And so with circulation, we allow the beauty to flow out and around the world. The knowledge that are sharing in Humanity Rising and the after chat, the connections and the community that we create in those places need to be spread out through the world. If we're doubling our knowledge in just 12 minutes, how are we getting that information out to the people who could use it? And so a network of these community gardens where people come together to figure out what they can do together to help each other. That's the network that I want to create. And so Thank you so much, Steve and Michael, for coming. And I see that Sarah Carol Sue, you're here, and I'm glad to see you here too. And I would like to now switch from talking about our heart gardens and growing the network, and we can always come back to that. I want to leave room for EarthStock debriefing. Anything that needs to be said should be brought forward. And Michael Kemp, you're one of the first ones that I'm going to invite to have a say, because we're concerned about you. And I wonder if the document that I sent you was of any benefit. And
yeah, I got it and read through it. With Michael's lack thereof, inability to just bring me into a meeting while I'm sitting in the waiting room while there's multiple people requesting for me to be in there, be it they're voicing it in the room or not. The cognitive action of lack of any concern to do anything, in combination with David Cam and Battery Coin and David and Michael talking there at EarthStock, and then Michael using that. I'm at a point to where if I keep going, I'm going to need witness statements of those that have seen it, many other things. David Cam's continuation, I'm cutting it all out. Anything that's touching it, I'm removing myself from it, or it from me, and the levels of maintaining my own. David Cam, Heidi Little, Michael DiMartino, this Mark guy that reached out that Shonda had to kick out of levels, and now he's coming to me to try to rectify things. I am all about peace and healing. But unity, the other side of it that gets there, is a war. We are in a war. And inviting wolves into a hen house? No, thank you. So I had to let Shonda know that. You got Heidi going through into one world and trying to get into things, and then they're talking about peace with Chief Phil Lane and John Raymer and David Cam. It's absolute nonsense. It's darkness tendricling in, and intent is the driven purpose, right? I'm not watching anything getting better. I don't have the opportunity to be involved if it is. Yeah. And without being involved, the continual negative on the compounding between David and Michael. It's like I said, we want a class action, a level of a bait and switch for EarthStock. I'm down. Michael's got no money. It's no good. It's a waste of time.
I agree with you, Michael. And
to the extent of any other energies and all that, the power of everything that's there and the things that you're not going to stop it. Darkness will never overcome light. It's not physically possible. All right. And
yeah,
it's just that, like, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the energy. It's not lack of compassion. It's the compassion and empathy I do have. I'm going to provide it to a complete stranger that may or may not reciprocate, as opposed to an energy that is complete on succubus.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Michael. And can I see your sweet face? Can you turn on your camera just for a moment?
Yeah, I've got my phone on the charger. Been on shit all day.
Thanks. I just want to say how much I appreciate you, and I'm sorry that this has all happened, and that I would really like for us all to be able to just leave it behind. And I don't know if that's possible for you, but
it already is. I mean,
all right. Well,
outside of discussing it and people wanting to do stupid things, I just document and move forward because I spent half my life in courts, from divorced family and stuff. Time, right? I know how to navigate. It's really simple stuff. My bigger concern is the things of the future, the things that are bigger than all of us that are being involved with Chief Phil Lane. And because most people in this room have no idea of the world you're navigating in this crypto and blockchain. Butterflies and rainbows, they barely exist. You're going into the world of hackers.
Yeah.
you're going into the world of people so fed up with the government aspects, but conditioned to still fight each other. And to bring the pureness and things of the kept wisdom, right? It's kept wisdom because how vicious this world is. The wisdom's kept intentionally to protect it, and that's sad, right? I get it. It's necessary, and it's the only reason why these things that people don't know about that I got introduced by EarthStock. So it's got its positives, and anything does depending on your perspective. Protecting the future of it, not allowing whatever the causes, because it was more than one of what drove things to creation, or then maybe fluctuated in the middle. I don't have opportunity for healing is always possible, but not in the picture of keeping cancer around. I'll always go on the last thing. People can change. Most don't. They choose not to. I've changed, so I know it's possible.
Yeah.
That I can't change what I've done, and it just levels of further, because that's what a lot are going on now too, is this drug shit, because I choose cannabis and just what went down at EarthStock. Well, there's stuff with David Cam that just grasping at straws because they know they're in the wrong, and as opposed to holding themselves accountable and rectifying it, they choose to stay in the lie.
Well, I don't choose to stay in the lie, and I choose to create connections to the best of my ability. I wanted to honor what your experience was, and I thank you so much for sharing that you do want to move forward and leave that behind. And I want to acknowledge that Steve Nathan is in the room, and I want to say thank you so much for coming. I want to say thank you to all of you for coming, because there is only one way the dream of Our Heart Gardens can come to pass, and that is if I am convincing enough to bring all of you into the same kind of state of excitement that I am, with the possibilities that are inherent in the concept. And I welcome Sarah Sue. Your hand is up. Come on.
Hi, Michael. I'm really sorry for your experience. And as many of you know, I had a bad experience, but I let that part beat off my back because I had the best experience. It was the culmination of everything I'd been working towards, and I'm so grateful. But the one person I brought there, I brought lots of solutions. Some people backed out, but one that was there was Kirsten Legman, who was married to Rennie Davis, and together they created the 13 Life Principles. That if you ever been to the after chat, I'm always spewing out one of the life principles because I choose one every day. And so she was one of my heroes that I got there. I got lots of my heroes there. I had a lot more heroes that were willing to go but didn't get onboarded, and that was I was being protected. But so my point is, one of the principles is no blame, and that we create everything in our life. And so every time we look at a situation, we have to say, I created that, and then see what we can do and learn from it. When I took no blame off the table with my husband and I, the only thing that was left was compassion. And we get along so well. We see each other every day, face to face. We love each other. We will probably never be together in that way, but our relationship is beautiful. And I just have to say, we have to look at every situation and see, I created that. And what I created out of EarthStock was what I've been working towards for decades. The dream team. We're all together. I don't care about all the rest of the crap. We're together as a dream team. And that to me is huge. And the invitation to the solutionaries. Well, we were talking today on Humanity Rising that was the creation of the solutionaries and the team that we can make that happen. And look who I pulled together. You know, Steve Behrman and Richard Flyer and Michael Ely and the people that didn't get onboarded that were willing to come, and Kirsten and David and Meg who backed out because they didn't like the way I was being treated, and someone else who brought in Egbert. I brought Dale in, who brought Egbert, and so that made that connection. So it created this team that is unbelievable. And these are the solutionaries. And now we have a place to start inviting people, and the right ones will come, and not all will be right, and they will be vetted out, because as we keep doing this, the right ones will stay together and the other ones will kind of fall by the wayside. So that is the way we will be able to tell. So for me, it was wonderful. I don't have a complaint. And I have lots I could have complained about, but that's not what I created.
That's wonderful, Sarah Sue. Thank you so much. You know, and Stan, you're waving at me.
Need to sit down with Sarah Sue, Carol Sue, and with anybody else who has a dream team to put them into other networks and code them so that they link together as Sarah Sue's dream team. Okay, I have a system within other networks for bringing people together who belong to something. So our Heart Gardens people, a list of all the people that are here and all the people that are there and all the people that are there and there and there, they could then link to their websites and link to their right articles. And that's what I'm about, bringing these people together, making it possible for every one of you to have your teams findable by other people. And it's as simple as that. And they can, each of them, have categories so that they're in Shannon's category, and then they're in Sarah Sue's category, and they're in Lisa's category, and they're in Jerry's category, and so on and so on. And each of you who come here and have a very different vision of what ought to be, we can make your category of stuff so that your vision can shine and people can see who crosses over from one vision to another, because that's an important part of it. Somebody was mentioning seaweed, and we have the Climate Foundation, who got $1 million for their work on seaweed and capturing carbon. They were on Humanity Rising once, and I invited them to the after chat, and the gentleman came along with Andrew, names. Andrew and
the trust frequency.
Yes, that's right. Okay. They came together, and that was beautiful to see the two of them together in the after chat. But we have that power. We just need more people to take advantage of it. Yeah. You just send me a Word document with the names and links to websites so that we can. Where's Jack? Jack was here a little while ago. He did that. He sent me a page of documents that I put that into other networks, and it has the links to their little tiny descriptions of what they are, and a link to where you can find them. And if all of us did that, we could have all this stuff come crossing over. And
if all of us did that, Stan, you would be swamped.
No, we need to have more people trained up.
Romper room. It's a little like Romper Room right here. I could just put my little mirror up and call out some names, and they would be here. Okay. and I want to call out to Jerry. Jerry, is that a real person, or is that just a picture of you? Oh, that's real. Yes. And I want to know next time you go to Puerto Rico, because I may join you over there.
Well, Michael Camp and I are working on a project for December next year. That we would be
not this year, not this December, the following December.
Wait a whole year. Oh,
yes. Yes, and so I've started to actually get quotes from the hotels and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the reason is, the funny thing is, in the middle of the night, the other night, I saw that somebody friended me, and I usually don't do it because there's so many trolls out there. But I saw we had a lot of the mutual friends from high school, and I didn't really recognize, but I friended him, and he accepted right back, and we started chatting from 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning, my time, and he's in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah.
We're the same year in high school. We both lived on the lake, in Lake Oswego. And so that's a long time to wait. Because I'm here in Belize, I'm not that far.
I love the let's do it now.
I used to live in Puerto Rico.
I love the let's do it now because I think it's looking about January. Well, we've got to go out and do some scanning and get to know the grounds and go get some pictures, recon, if you will, right? Maybe go test the level of what the adventure layout would be for this 4-day or 3-night thing in December, right? Maybe putting up some hammocks and making some earth-built campsites and things like that. We're looking at January going and doing that. So
this coming January?
Correct.
So
they're working on a project for next year in this January, but a whole year from now.
No. But yes, the event itself for this January would be when I'm looking at personally going down, and I've got a couple other people I spoke with, like Gaia, and he knows some people that they, hundreds of them to come build on the land, Jerry, right? So it's going and getting the right recon and then having those right components there. We're looking January because it's supposed to be nice. Gubaia's not going to Dubai until after that, I believe. So it's, getting with people's schedules. But then for me personally, getting the hell out of Chicagoland area during the winter to go somewhere warm, count me in, right? So having that capability of an internal on the ground of people would be the internal group, that's the ones that'll be offered to come out, right? We may offer that, for example, there's a augmented reality glasses company called Xreal, right? We might invite the founders of that to come out and experience the island and something of that first intimate, come build, scan with us, and see what happens, right? And then having more dialed in of what the event in December would look like.
So I trust this is an invitation, Jerry? Is this an invitation? I want to be clear with witnesses.
Yes, we're working on all the details, as you can tell.
Yes, Carol.
And Red Clover says me too.
You need to understand that they're talking about something in January for next December.
No, Stan.
Next December. Next
January 25.
December.
He's talking about January 25.
January 25 is a way to plan for December of 25.
Correct.
That's what he's talking about, and make sure that you understand.
I got that.
Yeah. So we're talking like it's September now, October, November, December, January.
Because he has to go
the 12 months
in January to plan for the December. Am I correct?
Right. December 25.
And I can be there, and I can help be on the ground for that as well. And it's been since 1978 since I've lived there, but I lived there 77 and 78, and then traveled throughout the Caribbean and came back. So
I want to also add into the mix just before you come in, Steve, that Connie and Andrew, we were just talking about, Connie and Andrew live at Sunrise Ranch. It came to me while we were, debriefing that Connie and Andrew's place at Sunrise Ranch is kind of perfect for the kind of summit that we tried to create. We did create. It stumbled in some aspects. But if we wanted to do something similar, we could. And so I want to throw that in the pot just before I invite Steve to activate his mic and talk to us.
Can I jump real quick before Steve? Sorry, Steve. Just conceptual of events. I do a lot. I'm going to be doing a lot with the solstice and equinox focus of those recharge, rejuvenation, and empowering and educating of what those mean and why they're important. Events are necessary, right? I spoke with non-Claudia, and because of logistics and things, because people have stuff. I haven't spoken with Andrew and Connie. I've reached out, but they've been busy. But at least non-Claudia, potentially, I know she's doing something in the spring. She always does. But to tie in to possibly the autumnal equinox, if not the summer, because the autumnal equinox being right there in Colorado area you're exactly on point. San Ruiz Valley is something that the locals of Boulder, Crestone, and many Colorado people that were not invited included, glad and pissed off that I've got so many people from Crestone reaching out to me. It is ridiculous. It's that's why it's hard for me to get through, because I'm done with it, but I keep getting to have to help others heal that weren't even there. And I'm down with that. It's my role, but it doesn't make it easier. But just in that, having those coordinated quarterly events in the specifics to empower the people of it is those quarterly events. Then having a event like EarthStock in between Burning Man, at least if it's Colorado, right? There's certain timings that right there at the beginning of August is best bug time, best weather time, best other events in between time. And with especially us that were there, I mean, shit, we seen it, we experienced it. So almost anything could go wrong when you're surrounded by people like that in a place like that, and it's a positive event. But I'll just so you guys know, on schedule things and longevity plans and perpetual yielding of these and empowering the events through it. There's many schedules together, and it's how to empower each one and do it the 3 years out, because that, like you said, yeah, oh my gosh, all the way to December. And successful events at levels of 20,000 plus, most of those events are 2-year minimum planning before the event.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the financials, and it's all of the ins and outs and what have you. But I digress. I just wanted you guys to know that there's that size of stuff going on in the world of things.
Thank you so much, Michael. And I was so pleased to see the Crestone Energy Fair on live Facebook, and their production was professional. It was beautiful. And Steve, your hand came down. I suspect it was the machine. Would you like to speak, sir?
Yeah, I would. First, I want to say, hey, Michael, are you sorry? Really? Are you? It's all good, man. So the first thing I wanted to say is, when I was in the military, what you were calling about sending in recon, we called that the advance party. And the advance party is the people that go in, assess the site, make sure that everything was set up. We made sure we had places to put kitchens, restroom facilities, generators, fuel. Everything was taken care of, and we mapped everything out. And that's what you're talking about doing. And so, Michael, if you want, let me know, and I'll see if I can give you a little bit of help. We're talking about January. I might be able to plan something like that. And if you don't need it, that's okay too. But it's always good.
Oh, it's absolutely needed.
Absolutely. Okay. That's
because
fabulous. That's exciting.
We'll be able to bridge the gaps, because we're going to be 3D scanning the grounds itself. We've already, with another partner, we've got like 93% of the world independent scan from satellite at like 8K resolution type things. So we've got some pretty crazy assets that we get to incorporate to, like, for what Jerry's wanting, gamifying enlightenment and doing it on the island from anywhere in the world. That tech is here now. So it's to incorporate the case study to show how people can have that better quality of life because these things exist, and introduce it to the demographic of the future leaders, the kids, the ones that need it most, that are the furthest driven from probably any practice Jerry teaches, that makes some of us, like I'm doing the stuff on more I do in more countries, I realize how they don't understand how bad it is here. It's a really interesting dynamic of a child in a starving country respects and loves and does things in elements of simple, basic human necessity. Yet those that have the abundance and condition through it tears me up. So the ability for people to have access to change the dynamic of their life through their phone that's destroying lives is a bridge to a global outreach that more need to get comfortable with and learning about it, and defeat the fear of it, because it's only going to get more compounded as tech and the future goes, and that's day by day. So
For some, but not for others.
Thanks, Michael. I'm going to ask Steve if you're complete yet. I don't think so. Come on in.
Thank you for that, Sharon.
You bet.
And no, I am not complete. I also mentioned in the chat that I beg to differ with you that there is more than one way to further your project. And you asked me to elaborate on that. And I thought that I might do that privately, but I thought I'd just give a little taste of it here. I'm getting set to launch strategic campaigns and StratCamp, a separate arm, which is where we plan to be tying in younger folks and actually doing projects. I'm planning to build both a nonprofit to raise money and be a pass-through to fund projects, and have a for-profit consulting practice operating only at the county level and below, so that we can actually go in and look county by county, create models, and show them how they can be more effective and do things differently. Because I don't care what country you're in, none of the world's leaders have really helped us. None of them can point to a spot and say, we want to go there, and have all those leaders agree. And the one thing I found is my branding is, we all do better when we all do better. Good planets are hard to find. And I don't tell anybody what to do, but if we live by those two rules, that's a point that we can point to that it's hard to argue against. And so what I'm really looking to do is to find out worthwhile projects. So for example, with what you're doing, Shannon, we have a project here called Homegrown that is very similar. And so it now becomes a way. What I want to do is start creating the newsletter and getting people to be willing to contribute. And I want to start getting in on some of these conversations, because there are so many different areas that I can tie into what we're doing. And most people don't look at things the way I do. I'm kind of a little bit of a strange guy. And I think I can say that, and everybody will smile. Nobody will disagree with me, and everybody's okay. Yeah, I've had a lot of different experiences in life and done some things at a pretty high level. And now I get to look at what we're doing. And because I've become nonpartisan, I get to poke fun at both parties. Like, why in the world are we doing this? Why in the world aren't we doing that? And really take the partisanship out of it. And ask, when are we going to get serious and be responsible? Sarah, you were talking about blame and fault earlier. And I have learned to eliminate blame and fault from my vocabulary. And I talk about being responsible. And I have an incredible exercise to do that. Really quick, you ready for this one? You want to learn about the difference between fault and responsibility? Can I do this?
Please.
Here's a hypothetical situation. You're sitting in your car. Doesn't matter whether people are in front of you or not. You're sitting at a red light. And somebody's behind you and runs into your car. Who's responsible for you having that accident?
You created that. And
That's
you want to
right.
hear something? I gave that, when I was treating when I was treating Chief Phil Lane, because he had an accident very similar to that. And I actually cited that exact same situation. And I had to ask him, okay, you may not like this, but imagine if you're at a stoplight and you get hit, you did something, that
You could
created
have
that
left a
energy for that
minute
to happen.
earlier, taken a different route. You could have left a minute. That accident might still have happened anyway, but you might not
He
have
was
been.
able to take it down to the emotion that made it happen.
Yeah. And so when I was coaching in Landmark,
Yeah, I'm a
Stan.
landmarky. I'm a landmarky.
So I coached in more communications courses at Landmark than anybody. I
Maybe
mean,
we knew each other then.
In New York.
No, Oregon.
Okay. And so what I'm looking to do, Shannon, is start a newsletter here for this county, but one that we could take and bring to any county we want to, because we're talking about things that are actually relevant, and having people communicate from other counties, whether they're nearby or not, doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just about saying, we ran into that problem and some crazy guy came up with it, and what do you know? It solved it. So you never know what's going to be, and being crazy is the only thing that keeps me sane. So
it seems
yes.
to me, Steve, that newsletter needs to be on other networks.
Yes, it does. And so look, I'm in the process of putting everything together, because I've got to figure out what's the nonprofit, what's the for-profit, how, and so like I'm preparing to go to an event in October in Reno, where hopefully I get all this set up by then. But it's a big endeavor. Some of you may not know me. I ran for state senate in Nevada in 2008. I have a political consulting practice where I help people run for office. I don't want to help people run for office anymore. That's not the direction I want to go. I want to help communities get together with businesses and schools and education systems. We've got a program here where we're developing independent libraries, because depending on what state you're in, your education has become another wedge issue. Why? And so now what we're looking to do is create independent libraries for rural areas, so that we can start educating people who may not have access to as much information as others, and start bridging the urban-rural divides, the generational divides, and the educational divides. Those are the three.
They're not censoring history, where they're not censoring history.
So most history is censored. You start going back. History's written by the victors.
Yeah.
And so
I want to get together with you, Steve.
I really want to start getting in on some of these conversations, because I think I bring something to the table that is a way, as a nonpartisan now, to really, and as a former New Yorker, being straightforward and holding somebody's feet to the fire and say, this isn't rude, this is straightforward and direct. I know rude, I could show you if you'd like. But that's not where I go.
No, Steve, I am very happy that you came to play with us tonight.
I didn't see much traveling and just got home and saw it, and I said, oh my, I wonder if they're still on.
Oh yeah, we're here until another 10 minutes, and that's nowhere near enough, so we're going to have to do it again next week.
So please keep me in the loop, because I'm happy to
Absolutely.
participate.
Well, this has been a really good meeting. I started off by talking about our heart gardens, and let me just run through the different things that I talked about real quick. I talked about a funding proposal presentation. I talked about the challenges and solutions. I talked about community building, and I talked about the breakout room ideas, where we would talk about the clarity of the website and the.
Yeah, he wants a timeout.
Did anybody take notes on the meeting?
We actually
It's recorded,
and we got the AI thing doing its thing.
Will that be sent to everybody?
Steve, I will make sure that you get it, but I think
Thanks, because I'm sorry, so sorry I missed half the meeting.
I know, and so we're going to take you out behind the barn.
Hit me, beat me, treat me.
Kind of figured you were going to say something like that. And I see Michael has his hand up, so I want to ask Michael, what do you got to say, my friend?
Hiya, thank you. Question for Stanley, etc. As groups are networking, one thing I've realized long ago really is that folks have particular preferences of what their focus is and who they want to collaborate with. I've known leaders who, for instance, if I say I'm working with a particular property and they find out that there is even end of life animal slaughter going on that property, they don't want anything to do with it because they're pure vegan, right? Someone else might not want to work with a particular property that has any Wi-Fi on the property because they're extremely electrosensitive. So let's say that groups have particular preferences and they want to be part of other networks or any of your other networking strategies. Are there ways of setting those parameters and preferences, maybe even to the extent of if you don't meet those criteria, that particular community isn't even visible to the other entities in the network?
My software is the software that's used by Wikipedia. So it's really hard to hide things.
Right.
But when you're trying to allow people to find each other, you make it possible. You don't make it impossible that they can't find each other. You make it possible that they can find each other. That's the approach that I prefer to take. So, and I do that with categories. And there's about 6,000 categories in other networks now. I think I haven't counted in a long time, but I have a number of about 50 that are organizing the other bunches of them. And I'd be more than I'm really wishing for people who want to add to the connectivity of the universe and talk to me about how I can help with that, with their particular vision of how to connect connections. And one of the first things that needs to happen is a lot more connectors need to be connected to each other. And
I absolutely agree with you, Stan. And I'm going to break in because I on Facebook, I put up a poster and Michael Camp liked it, and it was about AI. And Stan about other networks and all those other things. And I sent you a CC of the letter that I sent to these guys because I really, really want to get Humanity Rising in the archive of Humanity Rising on AI. And so making strides towards this. And Michael, Camp, it wasn't to leave you out. It's just that I am so moved by this that I am striking out in all directions because I want this done. And having you put your approval on it made me feel better. And thank you so much for doing that. And honestly, tech guys and strategists and people who want to help make this happen. Well, Stan is there at noon on Saturdays, and it's the meeting that I'm giving it to him. Stan, if you guys want to talk about that with Stan, he will talk to you about it on Saturdays at noon.
I'll talk to anybody anytime they call me. Okay, I put my phone number in there, and if it's not a good time to talk at that moment when somebody calls, then we make a date. And I will talk to anybody who has an idea about how to improve the quality of the universe. and the connectivity of what we're wishing to have happen. I just got a technical paper from the founder of the Encyclopedia of World Problems and Human Potential, and I can't read it. I need help reading technical papers that are above my capacity. He's offering to solve the problem of making the SGTs work. Is that right? The United Nations list of goals, and he
SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah, those things. And this is Anthony Judge. This is the founding editor of the Encyclopedia of World Problems and Human Potential. And when he writes stuff, I can't look up the words in the dictionary and understand what he's talking about because it's too far above my status. And if anybody is willing, I will send you his most recent article. And let me put the title of it at least in the chat.
While you're doing that, Stan, I'm going to say that what I would do if I were you, I would copy and paste it into ChatGPT and say, explain this to me.
Well, yeah, I have to have the patience and the time to do that. But right now,
it doesn't take but a minute to copy and paste it in there and ask it to explain it to me like I'm a fifth grader.
Right. Yeah. Well, so
thank you so much. And Michael,
it does all the work.
My friend, were you finished?
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being here. And now I get to go on to Sarah Sue.
I'm busy putting something in the chat. So don't close that chat until I'm done. Back to before Jerry came on, not Jerry, before Steve came on, and I'm very excited to connect with both of you. What I was going to say about creating something in the future, as I was one who was one of the founding members of Network for a New Culture that we started in 1995, which is a 9 to 11 day workshop or an event like what we had at Earthstone, only it went longer, and we had to provide 3 meals a day. That is where Bruce Lipton was one of our first speakers, because we had big speakers that went on for several days of workshops, and it was really quite amazing, and it's still going on today. It took us, the first one we started, I think, in the fall, planning it, even the winter, and we were done by June. But then it grew, and then it started, we never did it in June again. It rained the whole time. August is the ideal month, but it is so much work, and basically it's a lot of work, and nothing really gets accomplished except people have a good time. I already, because of EarthStock, look at what's here and what is developing and what we can bring out of it and go forward from there. And rather than take a whole year to do the nightmare that we did, it was a lot of work. For those that were behind, I did a lot more work than people ever realized behind the scenes. And I took my whole year, from the time I started, it's almost all I did. And I'm still working on it in a different way because I'm doing a whole tribute on the artists. And that came out of what was supposed to be on Saturday of the music and the arts, but it's turning into this huge shenanigans. But instead, I say, let this core, what Jerry's going to be doing in the following December, and give him all the help that he needs. And let's pull together as a team, because we're already together. Why create the wheel? Why spin our wheels? It's going to be something that is just going to be not the solution. We've pulled some solution areas together. Now we need to create a plan. And what I like about what Steve is talking about, and what Jerry is doing, because the idea is we need to start with the children who've not been tainted. And, my 13 life principles, several times this week, I got open, curious innocence. Let me show you. And when you get one card several times in a row, you have to take a look at it. And open, curious innocence is, before we were conditioned, before we learned to hate, before we learned to fear, before we were vulnerable, we were non-vulnerable. And we are our authentic self that we were born as. And that's what this is really all about, is being our authentic self. And if we can come to that place where we are together as our authentic self, children that never get exposed to the school system, never get exposed to the outside world, because the minute you do, you lose them. You lose them. And our job is to start up fresh with a new society that is not tainted.
I would like to share with you guys something spectacular that happened to me just yesterday. I got an email from my son, and some of you may not know that I gave my son up for adoption, and he came and found me 40 years later with the name that I would not give him. He carries the name of my grandfather and my brother, and I wouldn't give it to him because I wanted to give it to a son I could keep. But apparently I could keep him. So I didn't have to go through all the raising a child or anything, but I am now a grandmother. And so this is a magical thing. Well, he has just sent me a photograph of the first book that my granddaughter, my elder granddaughter, has brought home from the library. And he said, I think you'll be pleased. The book is We Are Water Protectors.
Yes. Wow. That's what all of Standing Rock was about. Yes, I had 9 months in sweat lodges of being a water protector. But I do want to say a couple things about why it's so far out. In Crestone, we had very limited services, very limited computer services, very limited everything, limited places to eat, and all these kind of things. It's even worse in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
We have no electricity. You have to walk to the property. So the closest town is about 10 miles away. So I'm just checking. I sent a note today to the people who own the hotel there. They're very conscious people. So that's wonderful that the hotel is even conscious. So we're just putting together the details of what kind of agenda and all those kind of things that we would have. But that's one of the reasons it's so far out. And thank you, Steve, and everybody who's volunteered to help, because it is going to be even more of a logistics nightmare than Crestone was. Okay. Even Michael Kemp said, maybe we should use a helicopter.
Yeah, and the running water there is fresh and clean and very, very cold. So the baths are, you don't have hot springs, do you, Jerry?
No, not the whole island. No.
I'm so sorry. Now I'm going
the water is warm. The water is warm there.
Well, it depends on where you're at. The water behind me is quite cold, because the crazy thing that happens in this river behind me is that the river, regular water flows into a river. Not this one. The water comes up underneath the river from the closest cave that's funneling water into the river. You don't even see the river joining. It comes up underneath, and you're swimming along or walking along, and all of a sudden you feel this cold water coming up by your legs because the water is literally coming up underneath the river.
Well, I am, yeah, cold. So I'm going to send this, the recording and the AI companion summaries. I'm going to work on this and send it out to all of the emails that I see in the chat. So if your email isn't in the chat and you want it, then you need to act in this now moment. I want to thank you all for being a part of this, because I do feel that this is a sprouting of the deep seeds that were planted in me a decade ago. And Joan, we didn't get a chance to talk a lot, but I'm really glad you're here. And I know that you are like-hearted, like-minded, and I know that we have got work to do together. And I am so glad. Thank you so much for coming. And Angela, we didn't have time to talk much together, but it was lovely that you were here. And thank Michael for bringing you and inspiring you. Red Clover, Kate, my darling girl, we have to share another room again. That was just amazing. Teotihuacan was just an amazing experience. Meeting Jim Garrison together for the very first time, and walking the pyramids. Wow. Thank you so much. Jerry Anderson, I look forward to sharing a sit down by the river sometime. Steve, thank you so much for being a part of this. You're an inspiring man, and the possibilities appear endless when you're around. Thank you so much. Sarah Sue Angel Hair, wahoo! You are an inspiration to us all. And thank you so much for gathering all the stuff that you have over the years. You know, I gotta say, you know, I had this deal with Spirit. I said, if you want me to know something, you have to make it undeniably clear that I'm supposed to do it. And so I didn't do anything. I didn't go and study anything. I mean, I studied Toastmasters and I went to business management school, but yeah, I didn't. But what you did and what I've seen the possibilities of is it only takes this long to learn something, and then you've got it for the rest of your life. Oh my God, that is powerful.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And I will share a landmark thing. Landmark 101 is Steve, you're going to love this. You know, Landmark 101. There's a circle, it's a pie. And there's this little pie part. This is the area you don't know, or that you know you don't know. You know you don't know Japanese or whatever it is. Then there's the area you know you do know. You know certain English and certain things that you know. But the large part is the area you don't know. And that is the sea of potentiality, of possibility. And if you get a little piece of information out here that you didn't know before, it becomes a possibility. And you have to be willing to take a look at the information that's out there to create your possibility. And that's what Landmark brings you.
And I love that. And there is the other way of doing it, which is my way of doing it, and allowing Mom to show me the way, because what is for you will not go past you, and you will be led by the heart. And
that you have to will it. It's not like it's God's will. You will it. You will God's will, because we are not separate from God.
Yeah, well, I willed Mom to tell me what to do, and she eventually figured out how to make me figure it out. She will answer your questions when you ask. It's overtime, and I need to let you all go. And Stan wants another moment.
Yeah, I just want to say that the Extinctional Post sent me a message, but I have no idea where to go for that. There was no link in the message. And So if you want me to know what you're talking about, you need to tell me. And it would be nice to know your name too. And Steve, Nathan, go ahead, say something. You're next.
No, he doesn't need to.
No. I'm just saying. I got to go. I have another call to be on.
Yes.
I love
all right.
you all. I will talk with you all soon.
Okay.
Steve, can you call me when it's convenient for you? Call me anytime when it's convenient for you.
You turn your mic on.
Oh, and
as soon as I get the notes with the numbers in it, I'll be happy to. You can always call me or text me as well. I know I put mine in the
I can't text. I'm in Belize. I can't text.
Okay.
But I talk on the phone a lot, and I would love to talk with you. And
okay.
I'm a night owl. I'm nocturnal. You can call me when you're done with your call tonight.
Oh, okay. Then let me copy your number. Where is it here?
It's there. 760.
Yep, got it.
437-5299.
Copy. Let me put that in notes.
Good night.
Thank you. And I want a
Great,
shout out to
Jerry.
Michael
Thank you
Mankinder.
so much.
Thank you for putting the link in for me, Michael, because it made it easy for me to get to Shannon.
Excellent. And Marco, thank you so much for having this. Good night, Steve. Thank you all for being a part of this. We'll be in touch.
Bye.
I'll see you tomorrow, both of you, the two of me on both sides.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye. And I think that I'm going to take whatever email addresses are here and add them to my daily report from Humanity Rising, because today was a dynamite session, but I wasn't there, so I had to go watch it.
Where were you? I noticed you weren't
I was
there.
at the doctor's.